Hi, my name is Isabella Raneri. I'm a junior at John Jay College studying toxicology and environmental justice. And through my coursework and my research, I have learned something that's hard to ignore, and that is that women from low income and marginalized communities are disproportionately exposed to environmental toxins, such as industrial pollutants, endocrine disrupting chemicals like phthalates, and heavy metals. And these exposures directly impact their fertility and their reproductive health. Yet, these communities have the least access to resources, information, support, and education about exposures and protecting their reproductive health, which is where this gap lies. That's why I'm launching a social enterprise called Repro Safe Justice Initiatives, or RSJI, a social enterprise that is dedicated to reducing toxic exposures and improving reproductive health for the women who need it most. This problem is both preventable and unjust. Many of these women live in housing with lead paint and peeling pipes, along with living near industrial sites and in communities where air pollution is high, and these problems directly impact their hormone homeostasis, their fertility, their miscarriage risk, and along with supporting chronic reproductive disorders. And because their environmental literacy and their environmental regulations are low and their healthcare access is also limited, these issues remain unaddressed for far too long. The Repro Safe Justice Initiative will address two main aspects where education is lacking. Number one, the women's direct reproductive health. We will address this aspect by going to these low-income and marginalized communities and providing free mobile environmental toxin screening for endocrine disrupting chemicals and other environmental pollutants. And the second aspect we will address is the lack of education about the environment and their reproductive health. So to address this point, we will be going to these communities, providing one-on-one assessment for these women to see how decisions and things in their everyday lives can be impacting their reproductive health. And second, we will provide workshops in both English and Spanish to educate these women on how to make better choices for their reproductive health and how to avoid things that are directly impacting their health that they can avoid and mitigate what they're unavoidably exposed to. Our target audience is women of color, specifically those living in low-income and marginalized communities, in environmental justice communities especially. We will partner with local shelters, with clinics, and community centers to ensure that women who usually fall through the cracks of our traditional healthcare system are being addressed. Repro Safe Justice Initiatives will operate as a nonprofit organization. Our funding will come directly from grants from either the NIH or the Environmental Protection Agency, and we will also be allocating money from donations and partnerships with local public health outlets. And we also plan to build a small revenue system with some of the workshops offered to the community organizations where they will provide us some funds for providing these workshop services to just help us in the long term have that backup funds. To measure our impact, we will count the number of women who have received screenings and the number of workshops delivered, the reduction of toxic exposures at the community level, and also by providing surveys before and after workshops and training assessments to assess whether our education is addressing these knowledge gaps. In the long term, we hope to advocate for policy change so that these lax environmental regulations can be addressed to provide safer environments for future generations. RSJI expects to face a few challenges, such as our funding sources and community mistrust. However, we aim to address these challenges by partnering with already trusted community members, tailoring our educational content directly to these women and their community needs, and then by diversifying our funding sources. Furthermore, our mobile screening model combats the problem of transportation, which is especially important for New York women who don't usually have access to cars. In closing, Repro Safe Justice Initiative exists because healthy pregnancy shouldn't rely on your zip code. All women deserve access to healthy resources and education. So, by combining environmental science, education, and community outreach, we hope to create safer futures for women in historically overlooked communities. Thank you.